Don't know where it goes. I'm on a road. Follow your heart. It won't let you down. Follow your heart. Take the steps beyond your way. Take the steps. When you have a dream, you gotta start. It's the only way. If you're gonna shine, and you're gonna shine, shine, shine. You're gonna shine. All right, and we are shining bright on the ranch today. It's been a really glorious day, but I have to tell you, I'm taking a deep breath because it's been a really strange day. Things that usually are right there weren't right there, and I don't know. Some of it's resolved and some of it isn't, but you know what? That's where we're on the ranch, because it's a happy spot to be, because we span the globe to bring you the best in Americana music. And we're brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. And I'm telling you guys, if you haven't gone there, there is the QR code to go there, because it's a great place for curated playlists. You're going to get some really good music. Indie artists, you want to be there because they actually pay their artists 0.02 cents for 20 plays. It's like all you need is 20 plays and you get 2 cents a play. So you can get interviews and all kinds of other great things for all things indie artists. You need to be on Blast Music 24/7 and get an account. It doesn't take much. We are also brought to you by Hotel Universe. For all your video needs, all indie artists, you need to look pro. You really do. You want to be competitive with everyone else. I don't compete with people. I want to be competitive. So Hotel Universe is going to help you. Tell them Randie sent you. And I just want to thank all our listeners out there. I know some people are watching live, but we have a lot of people who come back to the show, or it's actually on some radio stations. So Plow Zone in California, thank you for listening. In Paris, we got My Indie Radio. Thank you guys for listening. I'm glad to have you aboard. And again, all the streaming platforms. We're everywhere you want to be on the ranch. All right, so tonight we have, for someone who's so happy, I met him, he's the nicest guy, writes the saddest songs, which we have to talk about. We have to talk about Rich Allen, bringing you onto the ranch.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Randie, how are you?
Oh, I'm really, really, really good. Recovering from my whole Atlanta experience.
Yeah, it's still up. I still haven't quite landed from that. It was just go, go, go. And I had to shoot out to Colorado right after Atlanta. So I'm finally back at home, and I'm excited to be having this conversation with you. And yeah, it's so awesome. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, Rich, I'm so glad you could make it. So glad you could make it. Met so many wonderful people there, so many talented artists. And, each week we bring in some different facets of Americana music. So what drew you to Americana music, Rich?
Well, when I think about Americana music, I think about it as kind of a melting pot of all the genres. When you think about it, Americana music is rooted in America, and so the Americas, we'll say. I love the
trends. We got to cover them.
I love the country influences, the rock and roll influences, the singer-songwriter influences, all those things that become very predominant in Americana music. And I personally think it is one of the best genres. I mean, I find myself drawn to it because you hear different elements than you would necessarily hear in pop music. It just takes it a step further. And so that's why I'm a fan of Americana music.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because it's such kind of a broad topic. It lets you explore different parts of a song and lets you take it to different places. You're not kind of confined.
I find that certain songs speak to differently. I mean, when you hear a song, it might be that guitar riff. It might be that that drum on the snare, or it might be the lyrics, the rhythm, or the melody. I mean, sometimes if you're lucky enough, it's everything. But there is usually something that you hear that draws you in, that makes you want to explore that artist more. And Americana music, there's so many little, as I call them, Easter eggs in
Yeah,
that music.
yeah.
Little surprises if when you listen intently. As a songwriter, as an artist, I kind of listen to music a little differently, I think, than the normal person. I hope that doesn't come off as arrogant, but I feel like the more I get into my craft, and the more I try to refine it, the the harder um, the harder I listen to other artists. I want to
Oh,
hear what they're doing. I want to hear what sets them apart, and I want to celebrate that. And that's the beautiful thing about indie music. You can find that you're not getting what the tastemakers give you. You're
yeah.
getting what the true artist wants you to hear.
Right. And you right, right. And I just want to say hello to all our listeners that are out
Hey,
there. Hello, Billy. I know you're chiming in, and I'd love to hear what our listeners are thinking about that, their allure of Americana. Because you're right, there's so many great little Easter eggs there, you know. And a song is defined by just the different elements and where those elements are going to take you. That makes it such a wonderful, wonderful kind of genre, you know. And although we claim it as our own Americana, it's global, you know.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's in UK. There's some great Americana artists. We had Danny Myler, who's a great country artist. Um, and we like to think that it only exists in Nashville, but it really is this kind of universal sound.
Absolutely. I mean, because the world is so much smaller now, especially with the internet, and with streaming services, you're exposed to so much more music. So you can hear certain rhythms that might be Middle Eastern, that you incorporate into your music. I always go back when I think about like some of the great Americana albums, and of course these guys are superstars. But when I think of like Robert Plant and Alison Krauss with the album that they did, when you listen to that, it's an Americana album, but it has rhythms and it has melodies that are global. And I mean, that album was such an inspiration for this project that I'm working on now. That you know, I think my family's going to get tired of hearing me play Alison Krauss and Robert Plant because
Oh, you
I'm
can't get
just
tired of listening to those two.
I know, but I play it all the time, trying to glean and just kind of dissect what they've done. And of course, T-Bone Burnett, the producer on that album, is just phenomenal. But all that to say is, you know, with Americana music, we can do whatever we want because there really isn't any rules.
You know what? And I love to apply that. And I saw Alison Krauss and Robert Plant live. Okay. And it would take me a second to listen to a song and go, wow, that's like a Led Zeppelin song. And it was been rearranged. Billy's liking it. It's great
Yep,
stuff. So you understand that all the lyrics and songs are production, you know.
absolutely,
And when you're
absolutely.
doing a cover, you can change the beat and make it your own, you know, which is
Well,
the fun of Americana.
and also, I think we also have to keep in mind that as performers, as artists, when I'm performing live, it's all about that exchange of energy and that interpretation. I want my audience to feel something. I want them to. So if I'm doing a cover, you're never going to see me do a cover like exactly how the original artist does. I try to make it my own. And if they like it, great. And if they don't, that's okay too, because this was my shot of trying to paint the Rembrandt, if you will, you know.
Yeah.
And so we might. I feel as artists, we all stumble towards perfection, and we never get there, but we stumble towards it, and we strive for it. Again, you know, I was, as I said earlier, I think before we came online, is that, you know, some days you got the fire and you can just get in there, you pick up your instrument, you go to the piano, your guitar, and you can just, it all comes together for you. And then there's those other days where it's a grind, and there's the days that I just kind of let it sit and find something else to spark my creativity. And then usually when I go back to it, I can nail that lick on the guitar, or I can find the right chord or discord to kind of make my turnaround come together or whatever, you know. So you know, all that to say as well is that as artists we're human.
Right. But sometimes I think as artists, we're a little bit more temperamental and prone to that. Oh, this is so great. Oh, I suck. Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean, the internal torment is part of what makes us unique, I think, you know, when you think about it. It's not that I embrace that torment at all. If anything, I think that I look for the muses and the things that inspire me, and then those days when I'm down on myself, I just go listen to other artists, or I'll go back and I'll listen to those tapes from when I first started to attempt to become a musician, and then I don't feel so bad. You know, there's always forward motion. I always, you know, one of my sayings is onward and upward. And you know, I'm a firm believer of practice. You know, I play my instrument every day, and I write every day. Sometimes I write garbage, and sometimes not so much. But I do it, and it's amazing when I go back into my journal, maybe from a year ago, and I
mhm.
read stuff that I've written down. And I'm like, man, that was a great song idea. Why did I just leave it there? And then I'll pull it out.
Right.
And so this current album I'm working on, and it's 7 songs, so it's not really an album. It's an extended EP, if you will. But
Yeah.
these are all new songs. I have a bunch of songs that I've written that I would love to record, but I decided for this I was going to stick to my theme and write all new songs with the kind of underlying story of all the things that torment us inside and how we deal with it and go forward. So I call the project "The Ghosts We Keep." So,
Well, it sounds like that was actually an issue too when you did You Cry?
right. Well, Did You Cry? You know, Did You Cry? I sat down and started writing that, and then halfway through it, I realized I was writing this to myself because I was going through a very challenging time, a lot of life changes, and you know, I um, I was struggling with severe depression, and I was actually at a point where um, finally, some friends kind of helped me out and got me some, got me to the right people, if you will. And I learned some tools along the way, and got some tools in my toolbox. And then the next thing you know, I'm writing songs, and it looks like "Did You Cry" came out of that. So I'm going to say that song "Did You Cry" is more of a letter to myself, but it's also I think it's relatable to everybody with the final message, and that is it's really, you know, you you got this. It's the love you bring. Just love all, and that will win. That will win the fight, and you'll make it through. You'll make it through this. So
Right.
that's
Right.
kind of where that is.
Well, it's a
Uh,
great message, and I give you credit for reaching out to your friends because it is so hard to do when you're depressed. all you want to do is curl up, throw a blanket on you, and not move and isolate. And it's like the instinct that you want to do, and it takes everything you have to reach out. And I'm so glad that your friends reached back and kind of put you in the right direction.
Yeah, so am I. And the funny thing about it was, he became my bass player, and until he retired and moved to Jamaica. And when we first met each other, it wasn't, how do I say this? We weren't really like, he didn't have any idea that I was a songwriter or played guitar or any of that. And we became really good friends. Anyway, one day he actually, as things were coming along and I was feeling like I could socialize and have people in my home, he came over, he saw the guitar, and he goes, "Oh, you play guitar?" And I said, "Well, I try." And I picked it up and I played him a couple songs. And it was kind of really a special moment there. And we put together a band, and we did some local stuff, and that was the beginning of all this. And I'm going to say that happened right around 2004, 2005. And before that, I was just in the real world, working the 9 to 5 and not really doing anything. Now I'm just living the dream. I truly am. All I do is music, and I love it every single moment of the day.
Well, let's go back. Let's listen to "Did You Cry" and go back to where it began. Let's do that.
Okay.
Did you cry out loud? A call for help from someone else you were thinking of? But hey, did you scream and shout of the things that swirl inside your head when you're lying in your bed right now? Was it just a dream? Broken reality of what you and I should be. But hey, can we pause for now? A means to an end, my friend. Every road has a bend. Live today like there's no tomorrow. Find your way, lose the sorrow, beg, steal or borrow. The stones drop, it's a ripple in the stream. It's the love that you bring. Did you call my name in the middle of the night, in a night fight with yourself? Are you just fed up, running in this race? You want out of the pace, can't help yourself. It's not what it seems. Who's to say what's right or wrong? What is crazy? But hey, did you feel the sun rise across your face with amazing grace? You're the only one. Live today like there's no tomorrow. Find your way, lose the sorrow, beg, steal or borrow. The stones drop, it's a ripple in the stream. It's the love that you bring.
And we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. It's every place. Blast Music is where you want to be for all your indie music needs. If you are looking for good original music, you want to look on Blast Music 24/7. And if you're an indie artist, you want your music up on Blast Music 24/7 because they are so good at to all their indie artists. They have curated playlists. You can actually get money from being played, a lot of interviews and networking opportunities. So it is just a great platform, and they sponsor the show, so that's great. Hotel Universe also, and our listeners, Plow Zone California, and My Indie Radio out in Paris. So thank you everyone who's tuning in, and I love our live listeners. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, Billy, I agree. That was very soulful, very heartfelt. So thank you for that. And we had a discussion going before we started screaming about writing deeply personal songs. And there's a struggle with that when they're so personal.
Well, yeah, there is a struggle with that at times. I mean, you're being very transparent. I write sad songs. I write songs, but my songs are sad, but there's a glimmer of hope in all of them. And that's what I always try to achieve. I feel that sometimes when we can tap that inner emotion, we can capture that in a way with a performance or a recording, that when people hear it, that they can relate to some of it, and it might help them and say, like, hey, I'm not alone in all of this, or I can, it might become their anthem. So it's cathartic for them. It's cathartic for me to write about the trials and tribulations of my life. As I had said earlier, I sprinkle a little bit of every relationship and every life experience in my music, or try to, in my lyrics. Words are important, and to try to find a phrase, of 4 or 5 words and put them together that have so much impact that it moves somebody, that it strikes a tear, or it strikes a moment of joy, or a moment of comfort, or just makes them feel alive for the moment, then you succeed. We are transparent, and we write our songs, and then we release them. But once we record them and release them to the world, they're no longer really our songs anymore. They belong to everybody else. So
Right. I agree with that. And sometimes, you do get stuck with those words and phrases, and you think you're saying one thing, but when it's so personal, it's hard to embrace the edit. If somebody has a suggestion, or, the whole songwriting process is different.
Well, absolutely. I mean, because it is personal. And, as you said earlier, if somebody gives me a cue and says, hey, can you write about fried chicken? Yeah, of course I can write about fried chicken, but, it's really not my favorite food. So how personal is that going to be? It might be a good hook or whatever, but my point is when you're writing about those life experiences, and then somebody says, well, hey, I think it should be this. I mean, at the end, I say, to your own self, be true. And if you agree with them, or you think about it and marinate it in your brain and say, okay, yeah, I can make it work, but I can also drive my point home with this lyric. Mm-hmm. Then yeah, but I also say, be true to yourself. If you feel like that's the lyric and you want that lyric to be there, I mean, that's the beauty of being an independent artist. You don't have to listen to the tastemakers. You might butt your heads with your producer, and that's okay, because ultimately they work for you. And that's the way I always look at it.
You do hire them for their opinion and expertise. It's a dance.
It is a dance. but like, I also think you can't make it too easy on them. You can. You can't really. I mean, seriously, if they're pushing you because they want the very best out of you and the lyric, um, or they don't agree with the lyric, then that is a deeper conversation, and maybe that is an offline conversation where you exchange where what you were feeling in that lyric or why you thought that it worked, and it's possible to change their perspective. And if
Right,
not, if not, then you still have a decision to make. I mean,
right,
making music is not, it's not, it's easier to write and produce your own music nowadays, but it's not easy to write and produce your music at the same time, if that makes sense.
you do. You need that balance. You really do need that person to balance things out, because I do think you get too personal, too attached to something that isn't working as well as you think it is, you know. And that's the give and take of being with a producer, is knowing, when am I going to fight for this line or this note change or key or whatever, and when am I going to defer to my producer and say, you know what, I think he's got something here, I gotta rethink this, you know. And that's when you know you have the right producer, it was when you can do that.
As long as you don't have regrets later. And I will say that my first experience in Nashville recording with the producer, an amazing producer, Mark Duvall, amazing guy, love him dearly. But there was one song that he kind of, we dropped the click track at the end, and I just went on this scan at the end. And it was fun while we were doing it. But at the end, when the end mix came out and it was done, and everybody else agreed with it, I still was like, I don't know. I still wasn't happy with it.
Right,
We
right.
ended up we ended up releasing it, and it did okay, but that was the one time where maybe I should have kind of I was just too green. I didn't realize, what I wanted. Now I'm pretty I'm fluid, but I'm pretty matter of fact that I kind of know what I want the song to sound like. I when I write it on piano, and I listen back to the piano parts, then I hear what the guitar should be, and I hear the strings, and I hear, what kind, whether I want drums or percussion. If I write it on guitar, which lately I've been writing so much more on guitar because it's easier just to pick it up while you're watching TV or
Right.
whatever. So I've been writing a lot more on guitar, and but I hear kind of what it all needs after I get that initial scratch track down. And that's what I do. I'll lay my scratch track down. I record everything I do, every rehearsal. Anytime I even go into my studio, I hit record. I have tons of just like B crap. That's what I call it. I have so much of it, I probably would never be able to listen to it, but I do it in case something magical happens, or I ad lib a line that I want to grab, or I do something with my guitar or a chord change that I don't want to forget. Because I feel like sometimes as songwriters, we forget more than if we don't write it down. I forget more songs than I probably have remembered. And I found that to be true when I go back and I look at my journals from years ago, or when I started writing, and I look at all these things and I'm like, wow, wow, wow. So now I just record everything, and then, usually on my morning walk or run, I'll listen back to the the 30 or 40-minute rehearsals,
Right.
time.
So,
So
so tell me about the song "Surprised."
surprise. Surprise um was a song written for a certain somebody that I really just wanted to have a conversation with, to kind of not so much ask for forgiveness, but kind of come to a consensus of our departure. That's all, and that's what the song was about. It was written because I really, felt like I needed closure in this situation,
Mhm.
and it never came. And thinking about it, and I realized, well, why should I be surprised knowing this person? Um, you know, I think how we act in life is a direct reflection of our character. And personally, I felt like I was entitled to some answers. So there I am feeling entitled, which I shouldn't be. I should give grace that this person wasn't ready to give the answers, but still, I wanted to write a song about it. So here we are.
Right, right. Going back to
What
your
can I
point
say?
before, it's part of your process. This is, you want to write it down. You want to get it
Right,
out there and try to get something of what you need, if not your own piece of closure.
right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all good. As I said earlier, I'm a really happy guy. I'm so blessed. I have an amazing family. I live in paradise. I get to do everything I want to do as far as music. So I'm a really happy guy. I just, I like writing sad songs. So
Right. Let's hear a
I
sad
do.
song from this really happy guy. Let's listen to Surprised.
Thanks.
Knocked on the door of reason, I got no reply. No response, no curiosity, as if I had died. Oh, so sorry for the confusion. I just thought to say, we all get lost in our minds' thoughts of yesterday. Well, don't be afraid to hurt me. I have lived in love. Don't patronize to please me. Try to rise above your indecision, your lack of response. The ghost in the reason the trees are made. You should be proud of. Why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised? Took the ring you gave me, made a cross to wear around my neck. You said you used to love her, baby. You should never ever forget. Some people stop trying, they just don't get it. We all have our reasons, some don't care to share them. Well, don't be afraid to hurt me, 'cause there's pain in love. Don't patronize to please me. Try to rise above your indecision, your lack of response. The ghost in the reason the trees are made. You should be proud of. Why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised? Oh, why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised? Disqualified contestant. No second place prize. Makes me the first loser. But you never told me why. Why should I be surprised?
There we go. Almost did that again. Hello, everyone. We are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. Everything indie artists is where you want to be. All kinds of different genres, too. So there's something for everyone there. And we are here with Richie Allen, the happiest guy with the saddest song.
Yeah, maybe that should be my new tagline.
It really should. It really should.
Yeah.
Richie, you have some interesting video. What's your approach to video?
Well, my approach to that is, believe it or not, is I try to shoot video around town, and then I try to put it all together, and then I try to use some of the filters in iMovie. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go. All of this, social media, making reels, TikTok, all that, I've had to teach myself. Because when you're an independent artist, you do it all. Basically, I don't have a team behind me. And so I had to learn.
He's very caring. He could hear it in the music. So
yeah, I had to learn how to do it. I'm just happy that there are some people out there that like my music, that listen to my music. I never expected any of this. And it's humbling. It really is. It's humbling when people reach out to me, and sometimes I get these messages on like social media. Thank you so much. Your song touched me in so many ways, and it just blows me away when people, first off, they take the time to reach out to me to say that, and then. It's kind of good for me. It kind of, I don't want to say it validates me, but it does. And I don't feel like I need validation, but it's always kind of cool to get it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm taken back. I never expected to have the kind of, success and attention to my music when I started out. I just started out because I needed a hobby, and this hobby just kind of has taken over my life, and I wouldn't change it for a minute. Again, I'm not in the time of my life. I really am. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. And iMovie I find very complicated. I've tried iMovie. You got further than I did. I'm trying some other CapCut and all these other things.
Yeah.
But
well, I do some stuff in Canva and then dump the Canva stuff like into iMovie, and then from there, I'm separating audio, and when I do, like, I do a lot of these singer-songwriter festivals, and I'll catch audio from audio and video, and then when I go in there, I've learned how to separate the audio and clean the audio up the best I can.
right.
And from lives, it's so hard to capture live sound unless you have somebody doing it for you, because my little camera's just not cutting it. But I get stuff to pass down to my daughter, and stuff to post online, content. All right. And we're all about content as artists, because we have to be out there. It's how else is there to market us? It's tough. It's tough as an indie artist, but it's okay because it's a labor of love. At the end of the day, you're putting your music out there, and if you want people to hear it, you got to do a little bit of work behind it, and it's okay, because the payback is huge. It really is.
Right. And you wear so many different hats, and I've talked about this before on the show. You're learning things you never thought you would learn how to do, like editing a video, filtering, all the content on social media. And that's only a small part of it, because that's showing people you have the music. And then there's the other side of it, all your streaming platforms where you're putting your music and trying to get on playlists and everything else.
And exactly, and on top of that, you're trying to book gigs, or you're rehearsing for a big festival, or you're recording. You're always, it's always it's a it's a plant that needs water. You got to constantly be feeding it, otherwise it's going to die. And so, well, that's the way I look at it. Is it's not like, it's funny because like I for a guy my age, and I'm kind of retired, but I'm not retired because this music thing's got me jumping through hoops at times.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
but it's so much fun. I mean, I learned so much. I've learned so much. I've expanded my views on so many things, and I've learned things that I never thought I would learn. As far as, like you said, as far as like technology, and so all that's going to keep me young. I feel like I can live forever if I keep learning and keep forward motion, and
You know what?
keep writing and
I,
keep
I,
doing music.
I come across artists like every now and then they're trying to fill out my form, to be on the show. You just go to my website, randieo'neill.com/slow. You fill out a form.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. And I have artists that don't know what an MP4 is. They can't cut and paste. And I'm like, I don't understand it. If you are your own indie artist and you're advocating for yourself, there's some technology that you just need to keep up with.
Yeah, have that elevator speech ready.
Right.
That's what I always say. It's funny because, like, I do. I have a lot of interests, and I have this group that I get together with, non-musical group, no musicians in the group, but it's funny because they do this thing where you go and they say two truths and a lie. And
Yes.
people, when I tell people that I'm a performing singer-songwriter, they always pick that as the lie, and I laugh. I'm just like, wow, it's funny. It's funny that people in general, and then when they find out and they listen to my music, it's usually an interesting follow-up conversation. So you know um, again, I love what I do. I think it makes the world smaller. I love the fact that, and I'll throw a quick plug in for the International Singer Songwriters Association. I love that the fact that the first year I went there, I was I'm kind of unless I'm around people that I know, I'm very kind of standoffish and awkward. And it was amazing that this group of people just kind of took me in, and I went from being like so unsure of myself and my footing, being around all these other artists, to feeling like I was everybody's brother and sister. And I couldn't express enough just how awesome that was. And it was so awesome to come back again this year and feel the same thing, magnified. I was disappointed that I didn't see some of my friends from that didn't travel this year, but I met new friends and still kind of shared my experiences with my friends that couldn't make it. But just so much fun, and that there alone is a testament that you can bring all these people together, all these creative people together, and create such a positive energy, that if we could just do that simultaneously all across the world, maybe, just maybe, we could kind of heal some of this brokenness that the whole world's
Well,
experienced.
speaking of brokenness, you know, we have to go to your song "Surrounded."
Oh yeah. Okay.
I was trying to find a way to segue this in because it was
Well,
such a positive message. Because this is, the downside of depression and people who can't find their way. We
yes.
found ISA and we found people to support us in a really crazy business, but some people don't find that support.
That this is true. And first off, what I'll say to anybody out there that's listening, if you're experiencing any kind of like mental health issues, seek help. it should be applauded. I mean, seek help and remember that every person out there should just learn to be gentle with themselves and realize that, hey, you're not in this alone. There's somebody there that's there for you. And this song, Surrounded by Love, was written after a good friend of mine just kind of gave up and decided to end her life. And I wanted to write a song to kind of to let everybody know that at the end of the day, you are surrounded by love. You're God's creature, and you're surrounded by love, and somebody is there to help. Just reach out.
Right. Let's listen to Surrounded.
Thanks.
You're surrounded by love, my love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by love. You woke up this morning thinking today is gonna be different. Thinking it's time for a change. Tripped up in a state of mass confusion. We all get lost along the way. Seems like the same old song. Seems like life goes on and on. Play the game oh so well anyway. You bow your face in disgrace. You let the friction burn it all away. And in that moment, time and space, I'm here to remind you, you're surrounded by love. My love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by love. My love. You're surrounded by love. My love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by love. My love. Constant unwavering, a force to recognize, unconditionally always. Can you hear me cry? My love grows in you, and my love flows in you. It starts and finishes here. To be by your side, to wake up each and every night, it gives me pleasure, a peaceful reality. It inspires my hope. And every morning, noon and night, I want you to know, you're surrounded by love. My love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by love. My love. You're surrounded by love. My love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by love. My love. Constant unwavering, a force to be recognized, unconditionally always. Can you hear me? Hear me She never tells you what is wrong. Sits and listens to the same song, plays them over and over again. Over and over again. She stares out into space, thinks about those better days. Things were happier, she was so much happier then. And in that moment, each and every morning, noon and night and day, you're surrounded by love. My love, my love, my love. You're surrounded by my love, my love. You're surrounded
Okay. We are on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. And if you wanted to be on the ranch, it's strolling underneath me, Randie O'Neil. Randie is RandieOneil.com/shows. You can fill out the form and you can come on the show. And Richie, I love that you added the hotlines, because I think people forget how easy it is to really reach out to somebody. And these are trained people, and they're there for you.
Absolutely.
And Billy loves your message. She does. I know we've talked about this on the show before. We like songs with messages and hope.
Absolutely. And I can't thank you enough. I feel like my music is evolving. When I first started, I wasn't sure of my sound. I mean, I went from playing a lot of rock, and as my storytelling and my music has evolved, I'm finding that I'm liking a much more broken down kind of production, where it's strings and maybe percussions, and not so much noise, because I want the lyrics to kind of carry the song. And
Right.
so I'm excited about this new stuff that I'm working on, and I'm looking forward to everybody hearing it and getting it out there. I just wish things would go faster, but they're not. The world is slow for me right now. So yeah, but it's all good.
It's all good. Where can we find all your stuff, Richie?
Well, you can find me at richallenmusic.com. I'm on Bandcamp. I'm across the board. I also do a songwriter's blog for songwriters called Indie Resident Voice. And I do a daily This Day in Music, where I'll take something that's significant that has happened in history, and I'll highlight it for the day. Occasionally, I write about artists that I hear, other indie artists that just blow me away, and I'll do a featured artist. But primarily, I like to write a weekly blog with some tips or my perspective of the music industry as an indie artist. That's indieresidentvoice.com, and a shameless plug there. And I'll be performing at the Ormond Beach Original Music Festival at the end of the month. I'm really excited. I'll be playing the main stage in Rockefeller's Hall, and I got a primo spot to play, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm playing the after party. I'm all over Florida. I'm doing a East Coast tour that's scheduled for next year with the release of The Ghosts We Keep. So I'm around, and I'm on social media. Remember, like, follow, comment, and I'll do the same. And yeah,
Great.
But again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, for playing my music and videos. And I can't thank you enough. I'm so thankful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for taking the time and being with me, Richie. And again, I want to thank all our listeners. We are here live on Mondays at 7 o'clock on YouTube, Blast Music 24/7. We're on 3 video platforms live, and then you can hear us on all the streaming platforms. Plow Zone will replay the show, and so will my indie radio in Paris on Thursdays. Plow Zone's on Wednesdays, I believe. So thank you, everyone, for listening, and my live listeners, thank you for joining in and chatting with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and we will see you next week on the ranch.
Thanks.
Night.
I'm on the road, don't know where it goes. I'm on the road, follow your heart, it won't let you down. Follow your heart, take the steps beyond your way.